Hello, and welcome to Digital Whale Club, uh, where we talk about software, business, online business, crypto, and various things related to the topic of being an online entrepreneur. Now, I am using this software and ultimately wanted to just showcase some things that you can do within TweetHunter. TweetHunter is obviously the focus of this article that you're currently reading, and I've been using it for about 7, 8, maybe close to 9 months at this point. I love it, and it has dramatically increased the amount of engagement, followers, and honestly just made me feel like I was much more serious about this online business thing, and serious about growing a following. Now, this is a second account that I have, so there are no scheduled tweets here. So I'm not really giving you an example of my main account, but nonetheless, to be able to create and craft tweets, it's super easy. I love this little AI assistant that it has here. It can, it takes the information that you put inside of this tweet specifically and allows you to, improve copywriting tips, keep on writing, add emojis. I think you guys can read here, but there's a whole host of things that it can do. Um, Obviously, adding it to queue, you are able to add as many tweets as you'd like to adjust this queue. One cool thing here, right? You can connect it to your LinkedIn if you're also focused on wanting to build your LinkedIn presence as well. I don't really find myself using these connections because, I really just don't use LinkedIn like that. So it's just not really something that ultimately I see value in. Now, let's go ahead and say I wanted to write something. Digital Whale Club is the home of future billionaires. Okay. Now, one thing that I will critique about the AI specifically, it's not necessarily, it can be a little corny, um, much like any other AI software out there that uses, large language models to be able to replicate human language. But I think it's super cool how it just kind of dings it out for you. You're ultimately able to edit and tweet this, and then be able to add this to your queue. As simple as that. One thing that I really do love about this, I think it's also present in Hype Fury, right? Is this notion of auto plug as well as like auto DM, thread delay, auto publish to LinkedIn. I think these are super interesting, especially when your accounts start to grow and hit thresholds that ultimately that you can see. In the blog post, I talked about how I grew my account to close to 2,000 people at this point. That's the largest Twitter account that I've ever had from a personal standpoint. Pretty much in all my time of being on Twitter. Typically, what people will tell you is that the first 1,000 followers are going to be the hardest to be able to get because you're still learning. You're still trying to understand your voice and what you have to bring to the market. So getting to that first 1,000 followers is always crucial. And then what a lot of creators do, they ultimately end up plateauing because they're not as consistent that it's needed to be able to do this whole Twitter thing, right? So TweetHunter allows me to be able to be more serious, stay consistent, provide my audience with good content, my thoughts, things I'm noticing, and then really hone in on being able to find those tweets that move the needle in terms of my follower count. So the auto plug feature is something that I really love. It does boost engagement pretty well, right? Like once I actually started hitting past 1,000 followers, I turned on the auto plug to just kind of plug my own website, plug my things that I am talking about. This is another site that I am running. So that this is just our business account that I'm tweeting from, or just kind of like showing you as examples. Um, but yeah, you can always change this and always be able to increase, decrease, or do whatever it is with this threshold as you please. Now, the auto retweet function is something that I've actually noticed is super valuable in terms of engagement because a lot of my followers and a lot of the people you're going to connect with on Twitter are not just local to your area, right? They're going to be on different time zones. They may see different things on their timeline. And the auto retweet function, you can obviously change the interval at which it does, as well as how many times it does for each specific tweet. I don't specifically have that on for this account. I do have it on the other one, but yeah, again, that's just a preference thing. So one thing that you can do as well is edit your queue and edit the frequency at which you ultimately tweet, which I think is also really, really interesting. On my other account, I only tweet twice a day to be able to, prolong the amount of tweets that I can schedule out. Uh, I've I found personally through trial and error that 3 tweets a day, I can just run through that pretty quickly, right? If I sat down for 30 minutes and wrote 15 tweets or wrote 15 threads, that's gone in 5 days. And sometimes I just don't have the brain capacity to be able to put out that much content in that short period of time. So I found that 2 tweets a day, one in the morning, maybe one in the late afternoon, is best for me personally. And I suggest that you kind of find out for yourself what that's going to be. Now, you can make your schedule more natural, right? It obviously changes the time. You can add time slots, you can subtract time slots, so you can kind of really get function or really get customizable based on the information that you have about your Twitter followers and what time they're actually active, uh, and just kind of go from there, right? I think that's pretty self-explanatory with what it has to offer over here. But that's pretty much TweetHunter in a nutshell. I do like the software. There are other features that are available on the software, much like the CRM, content creation ideas, and the use of AI, right, in threads. I think it's pretty cool. So if you go here and like, let's say I had some content here and some content here, you can generate images based on the content on the inside here, which is super cool. I do like the artwork that ultimately it does come out and spit, but that's a small feature in the grand scheme of things. For only $49.99, I do think it is a software that's worth its bread and butter. At the end of the day, I use it daily, not on this specific account, as you guys can tell, but yeah, on other accounts that I am running, I do have this software, scheduled out tweets, retweeting and shuffling tweets, going back to some of my most viral tweets and then tweeting them again to be able to see if they go viral for a second time. So there's a lot of really great things that you can ultimately do here.